Hi everybody, it's Amanda again. It's time for the Q&A for July. It's past time for the Q&A for July. Sorry. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I don't know where the month went. Time is just ridiculously fast right now. So kind of left it down to the wire. Sorry about that, but today is all the Q&As, and I think I'm going to break it down into two parts. I sort of split the questions into two parts, and as usual, my high-tech setup is a little jiggly. Sorry about that. Someday I will get this figured out right. No, really, we're building an addition onto our house, and so when we do that, I get to move into my daughter's room, which is like in the most secluded area of the house. So I'll have my own office. Yay! And I'll have like a actual place to do videos. Okay, anyway, so really good questions as usual. I couldn't think of any to add, so and I split them into groups that made sense to me, but who knows what you never know what's going to come through, so we'll see. I may have to do something different. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to do in case she's first. The first one is, does each dimension have its positive and negative polarity versions for balance, or do they drop off after reaching a certain number? So give me a second to grab the signal again, and you can take some deep breaths with me if you want. I can tell this is a complex topic because I'm getting images right away. But the initial thing they said was, it's kind of like our perception of balance is skewed a little. Like what we think of as balance is not really how it works. And they're showing me like space, and I can see, if you zoom over to this area of space, it can be really sort of what we would consider dark or heavy energy, negative polarity. But in other areas, it's perfectly balanced. And yet they're not showing me an opposition to the very heavy darkness. They're not saying, it's very heavy and dark over here, but over here it's really light and bright. So I feel like they're saying there isn't balance isn't necessary. It's just whatever we want to create. And if we don't want the dark heaviness or the negative polarity, then I think they're saying what we're doing here is we're just coming inside of the darkness and just changing it. So it's not dark anymore. It's not negative anymore. It's not. They're saying it's all creation, and it's all, what we would consider play. If we don't like this creation, we just go create something different in the middle of it. It just changes. It's just energy is just changing forms. There's no requirement for balance. It's just whatever we want. And since you can't really destroy energy. You know, it just changes forms. So the idea of balance is not really accurate. But they are saying that, you know, for our example, for this example, and for the hold on a second, there's a really complex concept here I have to pick apart. Something about dimensions. Okay, so they're showing me like different layers or different levels stacked one on, this is just for the purpose of illustration, just stacked one on top of another. If this layer gets a lot of negative, heavy energy and it starts expanding, it can impact the next level or the one nearest to it. It doesn't look like that in reality. This is just like a example they're showing me so they can explain. So if we don't want that to impact another dimension, then we either strengthen that dimension so it can't impact it, so it has to go a different way, is all that I can explain it as. Or we go in and reduce that a little so it doesn't impact the other dimensions. And I am getting the feeling that that's kind of what we're doing here, is we're strengthening this dimension, this, what would you call, timeline or something? So that it's not impacted by the negative polarity so much, because that's not what we're choosing. We're choosing the lighter feelings and the happier, fun feelings. But it's more complex than that. It's because the dimensions can live on top of each other. I mean, like we can be in multiple dimensions, but only focus. It's basically how it works anyway. We're only focused on our existence in this construct or this life that we've, you know, built with our beliefs and our memories. So, you know, we've got the negative polarity explosion of garbage that's going on right now, but it's not really our own personal dimension. It's another coexisting dimension. And so it's kind of like we're in here focusing really hard on our own personal dimension, that the way we want it to be, and trying to diffuse the nearby dimension so that it doesn't have so much of an effect, or any effect really. Did I get like way off? Do they drop off after reaching a certain number? I'd say no, since they, you know, it's not really how it works. It's not a, well, I was going to say it's not a mathematical thing, but let me check. Saying if you want to, you can create a mathematical equation that represents it, but no, it's not exact. It's not a, there's not a set for a balance or anything. Okay. Another one from Inkeshi, she says, I've come to the conclusion that since we are each in our own universe, we will experience different events and 3 days of darkness based on our personal fears. The test will be which road you go down, fear or love, service to others or service to self. How close is my assumption to the truth? Based on your fears. Yes. You choose your experience based on what you choose to experience. Okay. And depending upon how powerful you have been able to become in this existence, because you can create a beautiful event and a beautiful unfolding, or you can create a hellish one. And it is true that your memories, the impressions of things that have happened while you are holding your energy in this space, in this life, those do impact your thoughts. And so this is why so many have come through to say, clear your mind, and to understand that anything that makes you feel less than is not real. And we wish you to clear those, what you would call blocks, from your perception so that you can see that what is unfolding is really very beautiful and has a very positive impact, and so that you can see the very positive things that are actually happening. We want you to clean off the lenses of your glasses, so to speak. There is only the love of reconnecting to each other, what you would call a soul level. It is the love that you are when you are outside of this experience. And there really is nothing else. So any perceived darkness is cloudy lenses, and maybe other people or other events cause these lenses to cloud up for you. But we encourage you, and we have encouraged you, and we will always continue to encourage you to clear those lenses so that you can see yourself as you really are, and that is pure love embodied in what you would say in the physical on earth at this time. Because when you can clear that and know who you are while you're embodied, it is like you give off such light that it just brightens everyone else around you, and it clears all their lenses, and then they can see themselves as they really are. I feel like they got off track. I was checking to make sure they were actually answering the question. Okay, so I think what they were trying to say is the reason they encourage us to clear these blocks and all this is because it's the blocks that cause us to perceive, a 3 days of darkness. If we don't have any past events influencing our thought processes on what the event or what ascension looks like, then we know. If we don't have those blocks, then we know there isn't any, there's no fear. There's nothing to fear. that it's a beautiful process, and it allows us to focus on the beauty of reconnecting to all of us reconnecting, which is, kind of what we've been doing here. And seeing each other as the beings we really are, and not seeing each other based on what has happened to us in this life or even any other lives. So in that way, yeah. I mean, I guess it is, it is like we're in our own little universes. There's so many physics concepts within this, and I'm not that well versed enough to be able to explain it in those terms, but it sounds like if you don't realize that your lenses are cloudy, then yeah, you're gonna maybe perceive 3 days of darkness that's not good. And a disastrous sort of event. I think we're kind of past the disastrous event thing. I was trying to see if they had advice, but I think they said all of it. I mean, yeah. I was just in my head asking if there's anything we can do to help others clear their lenses, because, they've been telling us to, do the work and remove the blocks. Sorry, you guys can't hear the conversation in my head. So, and I just lost it because it was all like, give me a sec. So I had asked, how can we help them remove these blocks? If they can't see them. If you can't see your blocks, you can remove them if you know they're there, but if you don't know they're there, which is the case most of the time, I would say. And then they mentioned something about density lifting. And then I was asking, are you lifting? Are we getting density removal? Are you doing that? Are we doing that? Both. It's kind of like an agreement. We're in here, being light and exuding that sort of. But we're also working with our counterparts on the outside, not embodied on Earth. And a lot of stuff behind the scenes that we don't consciously know is happening, but we are working with them to help remove some density. And when we remove the heaviness, I'm trying to see if we're doing that by our clearing, or if that's just something that we're just working on. Doesn't require work. Earlier, in terms of how we experience time, earlier generations have cleared some density so that we could come now, those of us who are here now, and work with those not embodied to clear even more density. So we're not clearing the density through doing the work. We're clearing the density now through our connection to those not embodied. And it will be different. There are a lot of different types of energy beings. It's just whatever you've made agreements with. Anyway, I feel like I've gotten off topic. All right. Last question from Nkeshi is, define darkness negative. What you call darkness or negative polarity would be anything that is created by you as a mirror so that you can see so that you can see that which isn't you, so that you can understand that which is you better. But how is it a mirror? That doesn't make sense. Mirror is the way we say opposite. You create as much as you can that is the opposite of you, so that in experiencing that, you know yourself better as the love and love and light consciousness energy that you are. So a more concise definition: that which is created in order to experience and see clearly that which you truly are. Okay? Elena. I love your name, by the way. I've always loved the name Elena. I don't know why. It's just pretty. So is Nkeishi, for that matter. Okay. All right, we want some info about the false sun and the protection screen. And I mentioned something about seeing a big block in between us and the sun. It wasn't covering the whole sun. It was like near the sun. Like, I'm not sure what it was doing there. If we get codes and benefits from the sun, like everybody keeps, all these beings keep telling us, then how is that encouraged if the sun's actually dim and in transition, or if it's not even the real sun, like they're saying there's a false sun, it's not the same sun anymore? How does that all work if it's not the sun? All right. I see the sun. It's a sun. It's looking more the bluish white to me than the yellowy, orangey red. But they're saying that's our star. And they're saying that the different perspectives are just the best ways different beings have of getting information across, like in metaphors and things. So if someone sees like an actual physical screen, it could be that they perceive it as that, when in actuality it could be that a series of beings are sending out an intention that a sort of screen process happens to anything that it gets expelled from the sun, so that it doesn't damage us in any way while we're trying to do this thing, this earth thing. So depending on the person receiving the information, if they're very focused on I don't want to say a victim consciousness so much as maybe their interest lies in looking at other beings trying to block progress. So like shadow governments and reptilians, or I don't know, whatever. And not that those things don't exist, but if that's where their focus is, then they're going to have that as a little bit of a filter so that it would seem like this screen, rather than being created by beings trying to protect and serve us, might look like something that is trying to inhibit us or trick us. So in a way, all of it is based in truth, but in reality, it's the sun is of service to the planet, and they interact, all the planets near us. The different energies come through Earth, and different energies come through the sun. And often the sun is a good focal point. Just like when you're meditating, you can focus on a candle flame and you can ask to receive whatever benefits you want. The sun can act as our candle flame, and we can pull energies through it in a way. Well, their energies are coming through it anyway, but it can focus things, and it can deliver those focused things to us, and not in a harmful way, but we have to ask. We have to set the intention to receive it. So I guess the problem would be, I, especially in this state, am focused on only the beneficial parts of ascension, and so I don't see anything dark or negative or deceptive about anything surrounding the sun. I only see there's a little truth in everything that everyone is receiving. But just as I'm filtered on only positive, so I won't be able to see anything negative. So, different channels or different ways of receiving information about the sun, it's going to be filtered through their filter. So I would say take the common thread of everything that everything you hear, just, what's the common thread in all of the messages? And that's where you get your truth. But then again, that's every individual's truth. So it all boils down to what do you want to believe and what resonates with you at any given point in time, because what resonates with you about even this topic right now, in a year, you may feel totally different, and something else may resonate. So hopefully that helped. Okay, the one last one for this particular video, because already 30 minutes. How does that even happen? Sean, Does Akashic Readings 21-day process help release karma and repair damage to your golden web? You can never make it the full 21 days and always having to start over. I did this too a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago now. I was trying to do a similar process where you like had to read this really long thing every day for, I think it was 30 days or something, and I kept forgetting, and you had to like light a candle and stuff. It was so hard, and I couldn't feel that anything was happening, so it was hard to gauge whether it was working or not. I still don't know. That was for something different though. Is there another way we can release karma from past lives in this life? Immediately when I read this question, what came into my what the thought that came into my head was, we do it every day. All of our relationships are about clearing karma, and it's just a matter of, like I said earlier, being able to see where your perceptions and your history are clouding your thoughts today, and fogging up your lenses. So it's just the relationships. You're going to draw relationships to you that help you clear karma every day. It's just a matter of whether you go into this observer mode where you say, hey, this is triggering me. Let's look at why this is triggering me. Is it because of something in my past? And you may have to sit down and journal about it. That's what I do. I don't know. Everybody has a different way of processing. I also used to take really long walks to work through things. So I guess what they're saying is no, it's not required, but this process works because you focus on the intention, and it's to set a thought process happen, a thought process habit, and to sort of cement a new neural pathways in your brain, so that you're not letting that past influence you. You're not letting your memories inhibit who you want to be right now, starting now, today. Memories of things that happened, in other lives or in your current life. So it's the forming of a habit, and it's the setting of the intention that needs to happen. And you can just do this by correcting yourself. Whenever you get triggered by something, this is to work out an untrue belief about yourself. So if somebody makes you mad, just stop and be the observer and just go, that makes me mad. So that means there's some kind of thing that it's an untrue belief about myself, or something from my past that is subconsciously causing an untrue belief in my present, and just look at that and clear it. So it's the setting of the habit. So in that way, it's good, but in another way, you could just have a note card sitting by your bed, and when you wake up, you read whatever message you want that will help you with that, like observe your thoughts, or when triggered, be the observer, or whatever message that works for you that will help you realize, any strong negative emotion, negative reaction is probably rooted in an untrue belief you hold about yourself, which is probably rooted in an event, or a previous event from your childhood or from a past life, whether you remember it or not. But if you can work through that, it's just like dreams. What are dreams trying to tell you? You have a nightmare, you sit down and you think about, well, why did I have that nightmare? And it uses symbols to tell you like what emotions are coming up and whether they're true or not. So any past life karma is going to show up as being triggered by something or someone. And they're all here to serve you. So even the people that really make you so mad, thank you. Because if you didn't make me so mad, I wouldn't realize I have this feeling that's sitting there fogging up my glasses so that I can't be who I really am. Cool. All right, 35 minutes. We're going to cut this one off, and then I'm immediately going to start on the second one. So, bye. See you in a minute.